Good morning, everybody. My name is Brian Van Hook, and I'm Regional Director of the Florida Small Business Development Center at FIU. We have the distinct pleasure to have this really great marketing webinar that's focused on Trim the Fat. And it's hosted by the world famous, the illustrious Orlando Espinosa. And he's got a really rock star panel of experts that's going to talk to you about their expertise, their insights, best practices, things to do, things not to do. And I know right now everybody's kind of gearing up for business reopening and kind of being successful. So this is going to kind of set you on the right foot. So I don't want to spend too much time because you didn't log in to hear from me. You log in to hear from Orlando in the panel. But I just want to thank Orlando for organizing the webinar and then also his panel. And I'm actually going to just hide out and listen to it because I think you're going to get a lot of really great information. So just thanks to Orlando for organizing this. And thanks to you guys for participating.
And thank you, Brian, and thank the SBDC. And I want to thank Brianna, for doing the legwork and everything that she does, behind the scenes. Grateful and appreciative of that. So let's go ahead and get started. We're extremely mindful of people's times, especially during everything that we're doing. Now I'm going to go ahead and get started. Any questions that you may have, please feel free to go ahead and get your questions. Thought process in the chat, and we're going to answer them as, or even in the Q&A. And we're going to be, actually what we're going to be doing is we're going to be more of an interactive webinar that we're going to be doing. So as we go ahead and get started, let's talk about, trimming the fat. So the panelists, I want them to go ahead and introduce themselves. One thing that we all share in common that all of the participants have, that they're SBA Emerging Leaders graduates. It's a program that we've had in South Florida since 2014. Karen is a graduate of 2016, Tasha 2017, and Macarena graduated 2019. But I'm gonna go ahead and give Tasha an opportunity to share a little bit about her, then Macarena, Karen, and then we'll move forward.
Great. Hi, I'm Tasha Cunningham. I'm a managing partner with the Brand Advocates. We are a boutique advertising and PR agency. We specialize in public sector communications, in transportation, affordable housing, and healthcare.
Good morning. I'm Macarena Silvetti from Silvetti Communications. We are also a small marketing firm that helps businesses develop a strategy that is on target. We add sharp creative that generates impressive results for our clients. And for over 10 years, we've been helping clients like Baptist Health stand out from their competition and acquire more patients for their clinics.
Hi, I'm Karen Vieira. I'm owner of the MedWriters. The MedWriters is very different than most communication agencies and marketing agencies. We're a team of all doctors. So I have a PhD in biomedical sciences, and my whole team are either PhD scientists as well, or medical doctors, naturopathic doctors, chiropractors, nurses. So we help only in the pharmaceutical and healthcare industries. We work with a wide range of clients, all the way from federal clients like Army and NIH, all the way to more, kind of pharmaceutical brands that people know, like Johnson & Johnson and Abbott. And we work with startups. We work heavily in the supplement industry, Twin Labs, companies like that. We do all the things that, you expect in terms of marketing, get you to the top of Google, impressive results. But what people really need is credibility. And so we provide that for our clients. We provide, credible information by experienced authors. We get really good results for our clients. And we're really enjoying kind of the work that we do. Thanks.
All right, thank you. And I'm Orlando, and I don't have a PhD or a doctorate or anything like that. but thank you so much for you're in for a great webinar. We're going to keep this very interactive conversation. Everyone that's part of the panel, they're great speakers. They're great. They're just great business owners, great marketers, and they see things differently. So one of the things that we wanted to do moving forward was to have more of an interaction conversation to assist and help all of the business owners that are joining us. So wanted to actually read a quote. I always have a quote for something. So a moment of crisis is both an opportunity and responsibility for purposeful brands to comfort, support, and inspire all stakeholders on the strength of their purpose, values, and leadership. When we were coming up with this presentation, one of the things that we were talking about is, you know, a lot of businesses in this day and age with everything that's been going on have got to go back to basics. So one of the key things that we were talking about, well, how can we help businesses trim the fat? Especially in this day and age where businesses, they're trying to stay relevant. They're trying to figure out specifically, do I do marketing? Do I stop the marketing? Do I move forward? Do I create a new plan? So today we're going to go over some simple suggestions that we're going to be covering and discussing. And the overall goal is to have you ask yourself, what should I stop? Should I put something on pause because maybe now is not the right time to do any type of marketing specifically? Or should I keep going? And we're going to be discussing a couple of things. But before we get started, we wanted you to ask yourself a couple of questions. You know, are you ready to restructure? Are you ready to adapt? How are you marketing your business before COVID-19? How are you currently marketing your business? Has your business stopped our marketing efforts? How much are you spending on marketing, or has the spending stopped? Do your customers know you're still open? And start changing your mindset and look for opportunities. And I don't know if the panelists had any other questions that they wanted to ask. I think that this is the time right now that all business owners need to take an in-depth look inside themselves and their business, and to see what is it that they're ready to do in order to move forward. So these are some of the things that we want you as business owners to ask yourself as you go ready to trim. Go ahead.
I'd like to add something to that one. One of the questions I had to ask myself right now is, what is my return on my investment with my marketing? Mm-hmm. And I started looking at all of my marketing channels because I actually have a little bit of space compared to my usual super fast pace. And I took some of that time to sit and look at numbers and say, okay, we spent this much money on this campaign. We got this much in revenue, this much in profit from it. And it was over this long of a period of time. That way I was able to see my sales cycle. I was able to see my revenue. I was able to see my profit. And that helped me make decisions on what made sense moving forward.
Yeah, and that's a valid point. One of the things that I think that in any business, what it suffers is businesses don't really have a targeted marketing plan. A lot of them, what they do is like, oh, listen, I'm just going to take a picture and upload it on Facebook, and that's it. That's marketing. And in order to scale and grow a business, you actually have, you know, we've heard that you need an accountant, you need an attorney, you need a banker, you need a mentor. And one of the things that I always push for is what people never talk about is a marketer. As a business owner, you need someone that's creative, that looks beyond just the norm of what your business is and how I could actually get it in front of other people because of the way that we think and our creativity. So that's some of the stuff that we're going to be talking about today. So moving forward, one of the things that we are encouraging businesses to do is to adjust your marketing campaigns. What is it that you actually are doing right now? Evaluate where your marketing currently stands. What stage is it at? Are you looking to pivot, make changes? What should be paused immediately that you say, hey, we're running a campaign and the campaign is just not giving us a return on investment because people are not coming into our brick and mortar. And are you looking for new platforms, new marketing channels that you can actually go through, or platforms that you can actually use? And are you offering any type of deals within your own marketing plan? I know that that Tasha and I, we were chit-chatting and we were talking about a couple of businesses that she's working with and how they've actually had to come in and adjust some of the things that they're doing. So Tasha, if you wouldn't mind sharing.
Yeah, and one of the things I was going to say on the previous slide is, you know, when you're asking yourself these questions, one of the key questions we asked ourselves is what are the opportunities that we have right now to help our clients? Now they're looking at a whole different mindset. Like, for example, one of our clients is Jackson Health. We had a whole different campaign, everything, you know, ready to roll out differently. And then COVID hit. So we were like, okay, how are we going to pivot this? Because now there's an opportunity to do something completely different different than what we said we were going to do. So I think one of the things that we need, that, you know, everyone needs to ask is, how can we get in there and help these clients? What are their opportunities now? And I think if you know, whatever business you have, if you have clientele, there's an opportunity for you to either educate them or somehow assist them, you know, during COVID and help them to get through this. So that's one of the questions I would ask myself on the, you know, on the previous slide, is what opportunities do I have here? And so with that, we were able to completely rework what we were doing. And now we're in a huge fundraising campaign, trying to raise money for PPE and getting these doctors on the front lines what they need. And so we just completely shifted our focus to that. But I think, you know, it starts with asking yourself, okay, what's my roadmap? Because we had one that's gone away. We've thrown that away, and we have to put a new roadmap together. And I think a lot of the clients, you know, that we work in the public sector, and even some of our private sector clients, had no idea how to reinvent that roadmap to be able to handle COVID. So I think that's a huge opportunity for almost every business that has clientele. How can you help your clients get in there and navigate this?
Yeah, and thank you for sharing, Macarena. I know you and we were also discussing some of the same things, so I wanted you to share, you know, as well.
Yeah, for instance, you know, it's funny, Tasha was saying about how clients have to pivot. I wanted to personally buy some candles the other day, and I usually go to TJ Maxx. And right now at TJ Maxx, the stores are closed and they have no online capacity. They should have thought of that right away and said, all right, let's do something. Let's see how we can sell to our clients. And they totally dismissed that. You know, it's things like that. You have to be quick on your feet. You have to be willing also to think of things that you haven't done before and say, okay, this is going to work. This is what the public needs right now.
Yeah. Go ahead, Karen.
Yeah, I'll jump on that as well and say one of the things that I've learned throughout this crisis is to put myself in my client's shoes. Mm-hmm. And they're panicking because everybody's panicking. Like if you read the statistics, it basically says 100% of Americans are panicking about something. It's just whether they're panicking about their health, a loved one's health, their finances, you know, the economy as a whole. Like everybody's panicked about something. It's just a matter of what are they panicked about. And what can you provide? So for me in my business, I can provide, you know, credible information that people need. So we very quickly started putting together information about the COVID crisis, vaccine development, how realistic is some of this stuff. You know, we were working with clients that were doing rapid testing kits, and we were helping them, you know, put together the documentations, get the FDA approvals, because this is what they needed. And so, and our clients that were more in the event space where we help them with like conferences and, you know, different presentations they were making. Now it's how do you get that online? And so we were reaching out to those clients going, we can help you get your events online and get your talks online and your, you know, turn everything into webinars. You know, we were writing continuing medical education courses for doctors and nurses that were given in person. And now how do we get that online for you? And just thinking, you got to put yourself in that person's shoes. And so for me, you know, as a customer, because my business is business to business, B2B, but I know a lot of people out there are B2C, where you're actually selling direct to the public, and it's to put yourself in their shoes. What do they need? And, you know, people need food. People want deliveries. People don't want to leave home. People want curbside pickup of things. People want to be able to order online. Like Macarena just said, why can you not get your candles from TJ Maxx? This is ridiculous, TJ Maxx. Like, what the hell, right? Walmart, everywhere has delivery. Everywhere has curbside pickup. And literally the companies that don't have curbside pickup, I just won't do business with right now. I'm just like, sorry, I'm not coming in. So I guess
yeah, and even for Jackson, we had to figure out a way to, you know, help the small businesses, help restaurants, help all of these small businesses. So we quickly had to organize a program where restaurants could donate to the, you know, donate meals to the frontline workers. And so we had to basically create a program where, you know, you could donate to Jackson, and then we had to coordinate the food deliveries. So it was a way to quickly, it was just an idea that we had, okay, we have to feed the front somehow, because the doctors can't leave half the time to go and get, you know, food and groceries and whatever else they need. And we're very lucky because major brands like Walmart, Sam's Club came on board to help us do this. And so it just, you know, that's the kind of stuff that you have to look at and say, okay, where's the need and how can my business have a piece in this to fill that need?
Yeah, and I think that that's what it is as business owners. I love the aspect of creating and allowing, you know what, people to know whether you are in business, you're closed or you're open, your customers have to know that you are front and center and that you are still, you know what, alive and breathing. And I think that that's one of the reasons why, you know, we were talking about adjusting your marketing plan campaign. So another thing, you know, we wanted to talk about, evaluate your imagery and language right now. How many of the small businesses are actually reviewing your website? You know, take this time to say, I need to update. I know you are, Karen, so am I. But how many of you right now are reviewing your website and looking at the content that you have on there? How much of it is outdated? You know what? You know, I've seen websites where it says copyright 2007, you know, and it needs to be revamped. You know, analyze your social media. What images are you using? What, you know, one of the things that right now, there's a lot of people that are living in fear. You know, to Karen's point, you know, look at your pictures and are you showing pictures of people touching? You know, I think that once this is over and done with, we're going to have a hugging party. Those of us that come from the islands, we just want to come in, you know, at South Central America, you know, in South Florida, we just want to hug people because that's who we are. So I think that that's one of the key things, and also change your language. I think one of the main things is that as business owners, you don't have time right now to sit in a corner and wait for this to be over and done with. You actually need to come in and roll your sleeves up and start working. And it's not going to cost you, you know what, nothing but time, and you have time to look at what content you actually have on your website and talk about unification. I think that this is one of the key things as business owners, that we have to be mindful of the images that we are using. Because we're living in a day and age where everybody gets offended. You say good morning and someone's offended. You know, but I think that one of the key things is, as business owners, start evaluating what your content looks like, what it and how it reads, in order to make sure that your clients and customers understand that what you're doing right now is that you want to come in and share information, but do it to a point where you're also unifying a message across all channels.
Yeah, Orlando, to add to your point, you want to share information, and you want to be, I think, in a time when you want to give. It's more of giving than taking. You know, it's not, I want to sell, sell, sell. It's, okay, what can I do to help the community? You know, and that in turn will help you.
No, and I agree. I think that that's one of the main things right now is, listen, we're South Florida. We've been through hurricanes, Andrew, Irma, everyone, and we're resilient. And also, what has not been created in the world, you know what, we created here in South Florida. Somebody has something, an idea, something that we sit back and I'm like, oh yeah, they're probably from Miami. So the key thing is making sure that you evaluate and have other people, you know what, to your point, Macarena, have other people, you know what, provide guidance. I mean, there's nothing more exhilarating than to be dealing with other CEOs and other business owners like the panelists, you know what, that I consider my friends as well, that we can come in and say, hey, listen, Tasha, take a look at this. What are your thoughts about this? You know what, Karen, you know what, I'm going to write something, you know what, can you modify it? Macarena, I know that visually you have a good eye, you know, what color should we come in and combine with this? So these are things that you actually have to look at. And have any of you actually had to sit back and change some of the imagery with some of your clients and some of the language now?
Yes. Yeah, definitely on our side, because like now we don't put anything out unless everybody in the photo is wearing PPE, unless people have a mask on and they're socially distancing. We right now for our clients, we don't put anything out unless that's what's in the picture. And then we do, you know, illustrations and like vector drawings and stuff like that to illustrate it if we don't have like people for the picture. So, and you can get any of that stuff on all those stock photo sites.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and thank you. Thank you for that. So don't capitalize on the crisis. Don't come in and, you know, you want to keep your customers informed, but you don't want to promote doom and gloom. You know, this is a point where, you know, there's a lot of people that they're dealing with a different level of you know, panic. You know, to Karen's point, what you want to do is that you want to educate, you want to inform. And one of the key things is making sure, you know, that you're not bragging. If business is great, you know what, don't come in and throw that in people's faces, because there are a lot of businesses that are suffering. There's a lot of businesses that may not even make it out, you know what, during this time. And what we want to do is that we want to be willing to help anybody and everybody, you know, help your customers, you know what, talk to them, you know what, how many of you have actually built rapport, relationship, and be willing to inspire others with whatever it is that you're putting out there. I've seen a lot of companies that have actually started, you know what, coronavirus sale, you know what, 50% off, the world's going to end, you know what. And for me, that's so uninspiring. And it also comes to the point where I don't even want to do business, because see, right now, the way you look at this is a short-term marketing for long-term goals, because you still want to stay afloat, but you want to stay top of mind when it comes to your clients and your customers, to let them know that you're right now, that you are alive, and your business is, you know what, whether essential or closed. But listen, the virus has actually impacted everybody at some level, whether it's financially, you know, family and so forth. So one of the key things is don't capitalize on that.
I think the other part too is, if you're on the other side of the not capitalizing, but you're actually really helping, is to share that. Because I think showing our human side and our vulnerability is very important right now to connect with people, because everybody's feeling this in one way or another, whether they're getting rich or getting poor, they're feeling it. And there's fear. And so, like in my business, you know, I've helped a lot of people with getting masks that they needed. Didn't make any money on it. It wasn't about money. It was just spend my time making sure that people that needed masks had them. Just didn't want people to die, you know? And so like, that's important to me. And when I talk to people and that comes across, then they're like, oh, I can see, you know, I can see the you behind the company. Right. And I think that being very human and being very vulnerable and talking about what you're up to in the world, because I know all of you are up to big things in the world, or you wouldn't even be on a webinar like this. You'd be watching something on Netflix, you know? So like, let people know what you're up to.
And I think too, Orlando, that one of the things that people need to start thinking about is looking ahead, getting past this crisis, because we're starting to reopen, states are starting to reopen, and that's another pivot. So you basically pivoted once when the crisis hit. Now you're going to pivot again, because things are going to start reopening, but it's not going to be in the same way that we're used to. So clients are still going to have a need there, because they're going to have to communicate, how are they reopening? What is, you know, what are we doing in our reopening plan? What is our plan? And I think that's an opportunity there as well to, you know, definitely don't capitalize on the crisis, but definitely start looking ahead and saying, okay, we are going to reopen. How is this going to happen? And how is it going to affect our customers, our marketing, and how are we as a company going to pivot? So that's questions I think people can ask themselves, you know, look ahead.
Yeah, and I agree. I think that that's one of the main things that I would encourage, you know, for those of you that are actually getting ready to reopen, you know, do a dry run, you know what, and take bring your customers into your place of business and show them, you know what, that you did a thorough cleaning, that, you know what, you've done certain things to come in and keep them safe. Because I think this is a time right now that we can inspire other people and inspire our customers, because once again, listen, I went to Publix yesterday and I had not gone out. I'm like, I refuse to wear a mask. So I've had things delivered, but I'm like, I need to get out of the house. So I went to Publix, and I'm the type of person that I have common sense. So when I'm looking at the line, I'm just following the line, and it's going, you know, and I'm looking at other people that nobody's listening or watching, and they keep saying over the speaker, hey, be XYZ, do this. And for me, it just inspired confidence, because everybody had a mask on and we were walking and people were keeping their distance. So I said to myself, yes, I would go back again, just because it inspired some confidence. And and then again, because someone came up to me from Publix and they said, dude, he says, you're the only one that's actually paying attention and following the rules. So I think that that's one of the key things as business owners that we actually have to use this as well to educate others and let them know just how good we are and how good we've been in order to ensure their loyalty. So show your brand's human side. I think that what happens to a lot of businesses, we don't, we become so robotic, but let your brand be what guides you, be personable. Think about your future messaging. Call your customers. That's a big thing. You need to call your customers and let them know that you care. It's a simple conversation. I mean, this is not the time for you to sit in front of, people are either in front of the TV, been watching, they're either in front of their computer ordering stuff, because I've never seen so many Amazon and UPS and FedEx trucks driving in front of my street. And people are standing in front of the refrigerator. You know what? So those are the three things. And my thought
is. And baking.
And baking. That's another baking. Listen, I heard that yesterday. They kept saying on a call that baking products have actually become obsolete in a lot of the stores.
Mm-hmm.
They ran out of flour. Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, guilty. I made a mango bread the other day. Who knew? But I will tell you that I think that we're all human, and one of the things that we need to come in and share that side. Another thing that I appreciate also is during this time, a lot of businesses were actually more concerned about their employees and what was going to happen to their employees during this difficult time. And I think that this is the time also as business owners to give your employees a voice. Let your clients know what it is that you're doing. Are you having, weekly chats, with your employees? Maybe your employees, you want to show a day in the life of your employee. And that's something that it's going to actually assist and help you to bring in that human side of your brand, because a lot of times what we do is that we follow a brand because they actually, stand for what we believe in. So showing that human side, be willing to be vulnerable and show a level of compassion, because I think that for too long as business owners, it's about money. And it's okay about making money, but you also have to start building relationships, because what you want during this time is to use this to create that customer loyalty. I remember when I went through this crisis, so-and-so was there. This is the customer that called me. This is the customer that I actually kept following online because their employees were sharing content, sharing information, doing a video, and actually just communicating with me. So I think that that's ideal for any business owners. And all this is going to take you is time. It's not going to cost you anything but your time.
And I would say too here, Orlando, when calling your customers, you're not calling them to sell them anything. You're calling to check on them. So my firm has called customers and we've sent them hand sanitizer. We've sent them, different supplies. Wasn't anything that, we were like, oh, we're going to sell you this hand sanitizer. We just put little care packages together, sent them to some of the clients who said they may have a need now or in the future. And we were like, okay, we have extra here. Let's go ahead and help you guys out with this. And that's the kind of thing that you should, try to do. It's really calling to check on them versus calling to see, okay, when are you going to be buying again? Or here's what I'm selling now. It's really just to check on them. And I think that will really, make an impression with clients that, hey, this firm was not calling me to sell me anything. They were actually calling to check on my well-being and to make sure me and my family were okay and that our employees were okay. And so I think that's when you say call customers, it's really to make sure that they're okay for the future. Exactly.
And one thing is that now I'm concerned because I'm going to call customers that I know to get Macarena some candles.
I think somebody's asking questions on the chat that actually makes candles, so we should check that out.
And we will. Karen, go ahead.
I was going to add to this something that I've noticed in my business, completely independent of this crisis, but is very relevant right now, is that the customers that I talk to the most turn into my highest revenue customers. Mm-hmm. Because I build a relationship with them. They know me, they know my team. They know what we do. We have a relationship where as we talk, they might be telling me things that are stressing them out, things that are on their plate, not thinking about my company at all, but I may be able to help them in some way with those things, or I might know somebody that can help them. I know a lot of people, and I can say, hey, call this person, hey, talk to this person. So what has happened in my business is that people we talk to the most have become our highest revenue clients. So now we are trying to get to the point where we talk to everyone as much as we talk to those high revenue clients, and bring them up, all up to that level. And so like the clients that we have a standing kind of weekly or monthly call, every time we get on that call, there's something else that they have a need for that we can meet that need, even if they didn't get on the call thinking that. But we have a conversation, and during the course of the conversation, something happens that then they say, oh yeah, could you help me with this? And so, I mean, I take that talk to your customers like 10 steps further. Make this a part of your system moving forward, that you talk to all of your customers, or as many of them as you can. Definitely the highest revenue ones you want to keep close and have good relationships with. Become their friend, hang out with them. Like, it works. It is really, really the kind of backbone of my business right now.
Yeah, to Karen's point, a lot of those lower revenue clients sometimes may become a high revenue client because maybe they buy out another company and they get big. So yeah, I totally agree with you, Karen. You have to, I treat my clients, no matter if they pay us more or less, I treat them the same way.
Yeah, and I actually can attest to that, because Macarena and I were playing phone tag. You know what? Yeah. And I think it's because it goes back to talk to your clients. You know what? Everything about a business is about building relationships and having great products or services. But now is the time to build that human side. Now is the time to actually come in and look at the things that you've been wanting to do that you had not done because you did not have the time. This is the moment that you have to actually not only inspire your clients and your customers, but inspire yourself. And I know that there's some questions that are being asked. I want to go ahead and just go through, you know, these slides. We have a couple more, so we can go ahead and just start answering questions. So this is one of the things that I think that we've all been sharing about this throughout the entire presentation is how can your brand help, you know, add values to others, you know, communicate your benefits, you know what, create helpful content. A lot of times it's coming about and think about contribution, not conversion. Right now, what you're doing is that maybe what you're talking to other CEOs, other business owners, and come together with a game plan in order to help, you know, because sometimes we may share the same clients and so forth. Partner with other businesses. I've heard so many other companies that come in and they tell me, I'm working with so-and-so and I'm doing XYZ, and I just partnered with someone else, because this is where you're actually building the short term for the long term. So by way of helping other people, you're giving of yourself. I mean, I'm hearing people, you know what, Tasha, to your point, that they're sending gift baskets to other people. Listen, if you have an extra one of these that's scarce, don't try to sell it. Don't do like the person up in, I think it was Tennessee, that they went out and bought all of the sanitizers or toilet. I don't even know what it was. And then they were trying to sell it, you know what, by, you know what, triple, quadruple. Now it's not the time to price gouge, because I remember, because I come in and if I see something or someone that's actually charging more money than they normally do, then you know what, I'm done. And this is a time that we actually need to make contributions, because people are hurting in one form or fashion. And I see a lot of businesses that have actually started pulling their talents together, and they've been marketing, you know, what it is that they're doing as a whole, as a team, because they want to make sure that others know that they're here to help. So go ahead, share. I stayed silent for a second.
I mean, I think everything you're saying, that's exactly what, you know, what needs to be done. And I think on creating helpful content, you know, one of the things that we've been doing for clients is we'll send an email out, you know, every week saying, you know, with all aggregating all of the links for all of this COVID stuff. and then, you know, sending them out an email saying, hey, did you see the latest, you know, 5 articles about this, you know, trying to find content that's relevant to their business. You know, a lot of our nonprofit clients, I'll send them stuff like, oh, here's a great webinar that you should get on that talks about virtual fundraising. Here's something, you know, anything that comes across. It's not just content that you create. It could be something that you find that would benefit a client of yours, and you just send it, and they're very appreciative of it because they may not have run across it themselves. And then here you are once again helping them instead of trying to sell to them during this time, and they'll definitely remember that.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. Karen, Macarena, anything?
No, I totally agree with what you just said. It's not a time to sell. I mean, I remember I received an email for somebody that was sent out to restaurants offering, you know, it was a COVID-19 package, you know, help package. And they were saying, okay, you know, we can do this, this, and this, and this for you, and it'll cost you $1,999. And I was like, this is crazy. People don't have the money right now. You don't want to take more from them. You want to be able to help them.
Yeah.
So.
And encourage and take this time to help. I know that that's one of the things that we've been talking about. So marketing on the move. This is one of the last things we'll talk about. You know what? Reevaluate your current marketing strategy. Improve your website visibility. Ensure timely and effective communication, improve processes. This is one of the things right now that you can sit back and think about everything that you've done. Now you've helped everybody. You've come in and you've actually encouraged. This is the time that you actually have to start helping yourself in your business, you know, where you have to see where your business is at. You know, what are the processes that you've been using, you know, when customers were ordering from you? Do you have an online presence? How many of you have already started pivoting and making changes? You know what, to Magarena's point with the candle and so forth, you know what, we've gotten to that point where if things are being simplified for us. The other day I ordered something on Amazon Fresh, and I ordered it on a Sunday, and I had it delivered by 11 a.m. to my house. I had never done it before, but I did it for the experience more so, to be able to say, hey, this is something that I would use in the future. But I think that one of the things that as business owners, that what we need to do is we need to keep moving, and we cannot sit idle during this time. Listen, I've spoken to a lot of business owners, and my thing is give yourself an opportunity to weep, to cry if you have to, because this is our livelihood. This is a business. I know a lot of people are fearful of that, but once you go through that stage, okay, now let's do something. Let's roll up our sleeves and get some stuff going. And I think that resilience is what I see within a lot of the small businesses, that they're coming in and reevaluating how and where they sell their products and services. And I see a lot of people going online. I see a lot of people hosting webinars. I see a lot of people, actually businesses, doing Facebook Live and bringing customers into their place of business. But one of the things that we've been talking about is a lot of times our customers buy from us and they really don't know who we are. And the moment that you build that relationship, they want more, especially when you're just building that relationship and that rapport and not selling. So this is the time right now that you have to start moving and not sit idle, and start going out and looking to see for yourself what changes you need to make and change, because nothing is going to go back to being how it was before. A lot of businesses are saying right now, hey, we have a brick and mortar and we decided that we can run our business effectively from home. So we're going to go ahead and eliminate, you know what, a lease or you know what, renting a space. So there's things right now that you have to start planning. So when everything starts, you know what, opening up and getting a new groove, this short-term marketing, where you're eliminating a lot of things that you don't need. And that's why we referred to the trim the fat. Is now, what am I going to do moving forward, and how can I actually assist and help?
Yeah, I agree with this. I think that the digital advertising is so necessary for so many people. For a very long time, many businesses that are, you know, physical brick and mortar businesses haven't really been doing a lot of online, because it's just, you know, people come. And I think this is a time to just try things, and you don't know what's going to work. So try everything and see what sticks. If you have the time on your hands, try it all. Like, I was really impressed when I saw that Panera, which I think of as, you know, bagels and sandwiches and soups or whatever, they now have Panera Pantry, which means, hey, Walmart's out of whatever, or wherever you order your groceries from. Instacart, I did my order and I didn't get my whatever. All the things that they have that their suppliers are supplying them with every day, they have them there. And Panera had delivery service already. So they're utilizing their already existing logistics to say, we can deliver. What do you need? You want bagels, you want cream cheese, you want milk, you want, you know, they have all this stuff and they're not selling it because nobody's coming. So they now have Panera Pantry. And so I love to see how people have just been keep moving. And just because that's big corporate, like Panera is a big, you know, franchise across the country, but as small business owners, we have to do the same thing. We cannot sit static. So just because you used to do business a certain way doesn't mean that you can't change. And if you're used to selling face to face, now you're selling online. So embrace these tools. If you have the time, jump on the webinars, learn social media marketing, learn Facebook advertising, learn how to run a webinar, because these are the tools you need right now. And just because things are reopening doesn't actually mean that people are coming. Because I'll tell you, things are reopening here in Palm Beach County where I live. I'm not down in Dade, and things started reopening already, and I haven't gone a single place because I have no interest in getting sick. And I don't foresee myself going out. I don't foresee myself stopping what I'm doing currently. Like, I've been using Walmart grocery pickup for like a year. So I didn't just start doing this because of the COVID crisis. And I'm not about to stop doing it and start going back to the store. And I know, like Orlando was saying, you know, people have started ordering more online. So if you have a physical store, how quickly can you get those items online? Like, one of my web developers that I work with, who just happens to be my ex-husband, he gets people's websites up same day. He's like, you give it to me today, like morning, I might have it done for you by nighttime. And for like $400, he'll just knock it out. And so it's how quickly can you get your stuff online and start selling? And then once you have it online, where are you pushing it out? So it's like your brain's just got to keep moving. If you have a social media presence, leverage that. If you don't have one, learn how to build it. If you're tapped into some kind of a group, push it out via the group you're a part of. You've got to learn to leverage relationships. You know people. Somehow you know people. You've got their email addresses. You've got their phone numbers or their Instagram or whatever. Leverage that. Get in the way of wherever people are that you know and ask them. The most important thing to say is please share. Because what you don't ask for, you don't get. And I learned that in a story a long time ago, the difference between YouTube and Vimeo. Everybody uses YouTube. Half of you that are under 30 probably don't even know what Vimeo is. YouTube always like automatically put share on every single you know, link or video or whatever. Vimeo did not have that. And so they were showing that YouTube was asking you to share like 50 times more than Vimeo was. And guess what? YouTube got bought by Google and Vimeo is crap. So put your stuff out, but you've got to tell people, share. Who do you know that this would be relevant to? Pass it on. Appreciate the love. And people will do it.
Yeah, I agree. You know, one of the things, Tasha, you and I, we were talking about, one of the restaurants that actually, they actually use their servers, you know what, to do the delivery. That
yes.
I think, if you want to elaborate a little bit on that, I think that was actually such a great thing. You know,
yeah, so we had done a webinar, Orlando and I, with Startup FIU Food, which is their food incubator. And so we were talking about how a lot of the restaurants that I personally and my husband, we eat at restaurants where we personally know the owners and stuff like that. So we had the owner of the general manager of Joe's Stone Crab on, and he was talking about how, you know, he was using the servers to go out and do deliveries and kind of pivoting their role from servers because there's nobody in the dining room to now, going out and doing deliveries. We also had some, restaurant owners that we know or general managers that we know who have gotten off of Uber Eats and those different platforms, and they're doing the delivery themselves because Uber Eats and DoorDash and all of those apps take a lot of, like, I think 30% of an order is what is the fee back to Uber Eats, and it's killing these restaurants right now. So they got off of those platforms and they're doing the deliveries themselves, and they're sharing it on their social media, sharing it on their website that, okay, we're no longer on these apps, but we will deliver directly to you. And they're finding a lot of success with that and keeping a lot of money, in-house that they were sending out to these apps to do the deliveries.
Yeah, and keeping their employees employed.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's one of the key things right now that, like I made mention, we're all in this together. We have to keep moving and keep, be movers and shakers. And I think that what this has done for a lot of businesses is that it actually has caused them to sit back and think why they started. Why are you in business? You know what? And if you haven't had that conversation with yourself, you need to actually start figuring out what's the best thing that you can do moving forward in order to keep your marketing up and running. And once again, taking into account everything that we said earlier about being sensitive, about making sure that you eliminate what you really don't need to come in and start trying new things, where at the end of the day, this is your business. And our goal is to make sure that you thrive, that you succeed, and that in the midst of all of these workshops that we do, webinars, that we save as many businesses as we can by way of giving information content to ensure the success of each and every one of you within your business. So the key thing is start to pivot. If you're not doing anything, you need to start looking at the crisis right now. This is eventually going to pass. Better times lie ahead. And everything that you're doing short term will go ahead and it's going to help you long term. So keep your clients engaged. Start looking at different opportunities to move forward and so forth. So let's go ahead and just wrap up because I'm looking at the time. We're going to open it up to questions. So I'm going to stop sharing the screen. And even though you all look extremely good, within your profile pics and so forth. So let's go ahead and stop and let's take some questions that have been asked. No, thank you, Stacy. This is great information. Thank you for sharing. Thank you. Erica says, I also need referrals for websites, developer, social media marketing. And Erica actually shared her email, so we can make sure that we share some of that with you, Erica. Let's go to the chat, and I know that Karen, you were answering some, so let's go all the way, scroll up. All right, so getting to Stacy. So Stacy has a soap and candle business. So how, and the question is, how to effectively get the message out there to reach people like you, Macarena, about the small business and where to find. I think that any of you want to take this. So Stacy has a candle business and soap, and how can she get that message out there to her clients to let them know that she exists? We may have covered some of that stuff, within the conversation, but if anybody wants to reiterate anything that we've said.
I would try social media marketing. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Stacy, I would try social media marketing. You can even sponsor some posts. It's not that expensive on Facebook, and give it you can spend $20 on Facebook and see how that goes. You can promote your post about the fact that you have the candles and the soap, and then it gets you more followers, and then it'll get people interested. You can put a link to where they can get the products. It's the easiest thing to do. And it's not expensive.
And especially in this day and age where people want their house to smell good and they need to smell good themselves. So Tasha, what were you going to say?
Well, I was going to say soap is along the lines of sanitizer and disinfectant. So right there, I think that's a great message to put out, is I'm selling the products that you guys need to stay healthy, kill germs, and, kind of put content out related to safety. How do I disinfect? How can they use her soap to, you know, disinfect an area, you know, putting tutorials online, you know, videos online, definitely boosting those posts, putting that stuff on social media, and just sort of doing an education campaign of, okay, here's how you can use my product to stay healthy.
Yeah.
I'll add to that.
Go ahead,
Orlando.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'll add to that and say one of the things that I always think in my business, and I recommend to everybody I know, is don't reinvent the wheel. So if you don't have the channels in place and the following, trying to build it from scratch right now is a lot of work. There's a lot of channels that already exist. You can sell on Amazon. You can actually do your product where Amazon fulfills it. You just tell them that you want them to pick up warehouse, and they do all the shipping and fulfillment. If you're willing to do the shipping and fulfillment yourself, eBay, Craigslist, you know, I use an app called Nextdoor, which is kind of people in my local area. Don't reinvent the wheel. I mean, you can work on that as well. Build that from scratch in your spare time. But if you don't have the following, you don't have the impact, you don't have the visitors, if you don't even have a site, just jump on somebody else's site and start building with an audience that already exists. That's always my recommendation.
And word of mouth. Listen, when someone buys something that they like, they're going to share with other people. Listen, what social media has done, it's given a voice to a lot of people. Some people should be quiet. Some people should share more, some less, and so forth. But people are sharing. And people right now, when you ask a question about a movie review, you know, when you were going to the movies, you were willing to share your opinion. You were willing to share your opinion when it came to certain restaurants, eatery, you know, certain things. So the thing is right now, you need to make sure that you give people an opportunity to talk about. That's where the relationship comes in. So you build a relationship with your clients, your customers. Hey, listen, would you mind sharing, you know what, a comment or a post, you know, about, you know, the product or services that you bought. Another question, you know what, from George is, you know, how do you keep customers, you know, keep good relationships with the customers with non-refundable packages on trips? Okay. So I take it people that actually, you know what, they book some trips and so forth. If I understand the question correctly, you know, George, so that you don't damage that relationship. Any suggestions?
I would probably say, you know, if you're not going to refund them now, sort of make the messaging like you can use this in the future. You know, you paid for it. You can't use it now because nobody's traveling, no airlines are, you know, traveling. No, we're not really allowed to be traveling. So use this for the future, and then maybe add something value added to it. Like, okay, we'll give you a free night. We'll give you, you know, one little thing for free. And usually that will help people say, okay, well, I don't want my money back now. I'll just use it in the future. And, you know, use this free incentive that you've given me. So if you incentivize them with something free, be it, you know, whatever, something small, something huge, whatever you can do, I think that's a good message of like, okay, we can't refund you now because we have these third parties and we have these other people that, you know, are in this with us when we're doing our trip planning, but we can give you these 4 or 5 things or one thing or whatever. And that usually will make them, you know, say, okay, I'm getting a value, so I'll wait to take my vacation. I'll wait 3 months versus taking my vacation now and getting a refund.
Yeah, and one of the things also that another question is in the travel tourism industry. You know, Angel, you know, people aren't traveling right now. They're traumatized because of the pandemic. As a business owner, we need ideas how to assess government accounts, state agencies, and so forth. Just as an FYI, Angel, that's something that we're going to be doing on the 4th. The government is still buying. So we will be doing a webinar focus on the government is still buying, focus on that. So please make sure you register for that. Another question is Tiffany.
Hang on, I want to go back to Jorge.
Yeah, and let me add, yeah, I wanted to add to that one too.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Karen.
So when he's dealing with in the travel industry, you know, how do you keep good relationships with your customers, even though they have these non-refundable packages? One of the things that Tasha was saying earlier really speaks to this. Like, find content and share with them on a regular basis. What are they interested in? They're eager to travel. There's tons of articles predicting when will travel reopen. You don't have to write this content. to just find it and send it to them. You know, keep them engaged, keep them like salivating. I can't wait to travel. I can't, oh, Jorge is so great because he sends me all this stuff every week to keep me updated on what's happening, what airlines are saying in terms of when they plan to start back. And what's, you know, because I'm gonna tell you, my sister lives to travel, and one of my best friends that lives like 7 houses down, she lives to travel too. And the two of them, every time they call me or every time I hear from them, that's all they talk about. Oh, I got to go online and read and see when the airlines are opening back up. And, you know, am I going to be able to go to Yellowstone Park? There's no cases in Montana and Wyoming, no deaths. Maybe I can go. It's July, you know, right now it's only May, you know, and they're speculating. This is what people want. They want information about this. They're dying to travel. It's not that they don't want to travel. It's just they can't right now. So you've got to keep them abreast of when will they be able to. And as cancellations continue, letting them know how far out cancellations are right now so that they know what to expect. So I think just keeping people informed is going to keep that relationship really strong.
Right. Yeah, and I would say on the government buying, you know, there are websites that, you know, where you can actually get the bids, you know, definitely from the state agency website of wherever you're trying to bid, but there's sites like Bid Prime and BidSync that will give you all these government bids from around the country, around the world. I even have ones for different countries. So I would recommend signing up to a couple of those websites, and that way at least you're in the know about, you know, when the government puts a bid out. And then I would say definitely, you know, whatever agency you're targeting, call them and say, hey, what do you guys have coming up? So if you want to sell to the state of Florida, the Department of Health, call the Department of Health and say, okay, what do you guys have coming up in the next 6 months? Get yourself prepared to bid, because it's one, and we do this a lot. So this is one of the topics that I could talk for days on, but you know, once you know what your target is and what agency you want to start bidding with, you've got to get a contact in there that's going to be able to tell you, okay, in 6 months we have this is what you're going to need, this is the kind of insurance you need to have, you need to be bonded, or whatever the requirements are. Get ahead of that instead of just waiting till the bid comes out and then you don't have any background information on it because you didn't do any pre-marketing or any research prior to the bid coming out. So that's what I would suggest.
Yeah, and thank you, Macarena. You were going to share something as well.
I was going to add to Karen's point, and actually to what you had said before, Orlando, about opening up. Send your clients information on how you're opening up, you know, the travel industry, how they're dealing with it, because as Karen had said before, people are afraid. So you want to get rid of their fears. Yeah,
and I think that one of the things to a question there is like, you know, and I agree, what you don't want to come across is be opportunistic. You want to be genuine. You want to be, hey, listen, this is what's going on. I read something, I think yesterday, that Carnival, you know what, they started booking, you know what, I think in August, and everyone's like, that they're opening up and people are dying to just get on a cruise. Listen, you have two different types of people. Those that are getting ready to hop on a plane and go on a cruise and travel, and those of us that probably we just want to get in the car and drive to the corner store like I did yesterday and go to Publix. So it's okay. And the key thing is making sure that this is what I call the soft sell. And the soft sell is letting people know that you know what they know because we're experiencing it. It's not coming in and saying, oh, by the way, for $199, you can actually get this, you know what, Clorox wipes, you know what, and this is not the time to do that. It's making sure that you stay genuine. I actually want to read something here. Tiffany, you know what, they're currently making PPE products in-house in Doral, Florida. And she actually, Tiffany, if you can share your email and your website on the chat. I know you asked it there in the question. And she says that they're actually, you know, a company needs PPP donations. They actually have a local warehouse. So if you don't mind sharing that, they have shields, hand sanitizers, KN95 masks, and they will want to help the community. So make sure you put that there. And I want to get to one more question from Ben. So Ben is a wine distributor who legally not allowed to sell to the general public, and their clients are restaurants that close. What do any of you recommend? ideas, suggestions?
Usually quiet.
Yeah, and I think that that's one of the things that right now, I know that there's a couple of restaurants that I've seen that for people to come in, they are actually giving a discount on wines.
Many of them.
Yeah, many of them are actually giving discounts. So my thing is that they may eventually run out of supplies, but I would actually look to see the aspect of wine, because everybody, listen, all of the liquor stores have been, you know, essential because people need to drink. You know what?
A lot.
Yeah, and I hear that divorces are actually skyrocketing as well, but that's neither here nor there. But one thing is that you have to take this time to actually be creative, and you want to be sure that you sit down. And listen, that's a great question, Ben. You know, I'm going to give you my email because I think that that's something that I have to process in my head to figure out, because there's always an answer to something like that. But I think we just need to put our minds together and see, you know, what answer we can actually come up with, you know?
Yeah, and I wanted to just add to that one real quick, because there is a restaurant right down the street from us that's doing this with their alcohol distributors. Basically, what they've done is they've partnered up to do it, and it's Pub 52, and it's right down the street from us. And so what they're doing is partnering up with their liquor distributors to donate meals. So basically, they're running a contest on social media. So if you go to their Instagram, you'll see the contest. And so the wine distributor supplies the wine or the liquor, whatever it is. The one I saw was about whiskey. And then they donate a meal if you do something on social media. I think it's tag them and make some sort of comment, and then they pick the winner. And they're doing this, you know, several times a week, but they're doing it specifically with their liquor distributors. So that could be something where you partner up with a restaurant and do something, you know, promotional like that. And so far, I think they've given out like 50 meals or something, because they've been doing this for a couple weeks. And I saw it and I thought, oh, this is a really interesting idea for both the distributor and for the restaurant.
I think I would also look into the concept of reclassifying from a wholesaler to a retailer, because there's a lot of opportunities there. And so that's one angle. And then the other angle is, obviously there's places that are buying, and how do you get in with them? Even if they're not currently carrying your brands that you sell, how do you get in with them? Because there are restaurants, to Tasha's point, that are doing a lot, and to Orlando's point with, you know, you come in, you get a free bottle of wine or whatever. And I know a lot of people are buying. I don't drink personally, but a lot of my friends and family do. And I'll tell you, everybody's drunk all day. I don't know how they're functioning, but they are. It's very weird. I wish they would stop sending me texts after they drink. So they're drinking. And so I think it's to get in the mindset of who's buying, where are they buying from, how can you sell to that place that they're buying from. And like I said, looking into how do you also get in the business as a retailer, because then that gives more options as well.
Yeah, and I think that this is a time for the slide that said marketing on the move. This is a time to sit down and start processing and walking things through. I know that I'm blessed to be able to talk to other people and to communicate with them and to be able to share, you know what, with ideas, you know what, I can pick up the phone and talk to anybody. Take this time also to talk to your competitors and find out certain conversations that you may have, build relationships with them. I think that that's one of the main things, you know, moving forward, that we need to come in and process in our head and in our mind, because I think that this is going to be a great opportunity for all of us. One thing that I actually wanted to highlight, one more question, and someone actually, you know what, wanted to thank everyone for the excellent seminar, that their hands are tired because of all the notes that they were taking. We are going to make the presentation available. Brianna will go ahead and send that to you. We are going to be doing some other webinars as well. And any ideas that you may have, please let us know. We'd love to put stuff together and have a dialogue and conversation. So this is one of the questions, and this will probably be one of the last ones because I just noticed the time. But Erica wants to know, how do you balance between giving back and promoting your business? She's a speech therapist. doesn't take insurance, but they have families of young children who participated in a free screening program she promoted, and results warranted further evaluation for autism. She can do it virtually, but parents seem to be hesitant to pay private premium for telehealth. Should she offer the evaluation for free? Thoughts? I have a thought. So listen, my thought, Erica, listen, everything in life, you know, it is a soft sell. And I think that one of the key things right now, you're building a relationship with your actual parents. And I think that one of the key things for what it is that you want to do, once you have the relationship built, and I think to Karen's point, maybe talk to the parents and find out specifically, because I don't think that the problem may be them not paying. I think that it may be they probably don't know you to the extent to where what you have to offer, what you bring to the table. So what I would do is that I would do a follow-up with a conversation. Like you saw what I did now. There's a couple of people that I gave my emails to, and I'll have conversations with them. You know what? I'm not selling anything. I just wanted to figure out a little bit more how we can build relationships and build rapport. And I think that you have a great opportunity to build that relationship with the parents. Once again, it's not selling. It's letting them know how competent and capable you are as a speech therapist. But it's more so having a dialogue with them, because I think that they may be hesitant because, you know what, we're being bombarded with, you know what, webinars and workshops and trainings and all of that. And maybe they just want to hear a soothing voice of someone that understands, and they may be willing to come in and say, hey, listen, sign me up. Because once again, you're not selling, you're just building and you're asking questions and inquiring, you know. Karen.
Yeah, I'll add to that because, you know, I work a lot in the health and wellness industry. And one of the things that is the best soft sell are case studies. So we write a lot of case studies and testimonials for our clients. And what that would look like, Erica, is you've done this for somebody, obviously, before. This is what you do. So get in contact with some of your previous clients and write something up. If you need help, I'll put my email in the chat, but write something up, or even do a video recording if they're willing, of them talking about what it was like. You know, we got evaluated. It was the best money we ever spent because here's the outcome. It, you know, my child was diagnosed. We were able to get referred to these services. It helped. This is what changed. I recommend all families that are on the fence, do it. Get this evaluation. It's the best money you will ever spend. Get that in writing and video. With some case studies, we will, you know, talk to somebody on the phone and type it up for them. Other times we'll ask them to just record a video, and we'll give them a couple questions, a couple prompts. So I can help you with this. I'll put my email for you, but definitely consider having that soft sell, not just for this instance, but just in general, is fantastic in terms of when people hear a case study, they go, that's me. I have that situation and I want that outcome. I want that solution. And then out comes the credit card. It's not an issue at that point.
Yeah. And I think that that's what it is. It's building on that. So listen, everything is about building and processing. So right now, with this webinar, I'm going to sit and talk to Karen and Tasha and Macarena and figure out how we can develop a part 2. And maybe discuss other things, you know what, in the next couple of weeks, and put something else together, you know, Brianna and Brian, because I think that people are extremely interested right now, because I think this is just the start of what you need to do to trim the fat. And now that you've trimmed the fat, you know what, let's fry the bacon for those that eat bacon. But I think that that's one of the things that we have to talk about. And once again, it's just conversations. And I'm looking at the questions, and I'm looking at the comments. And one thing that we wanted to do was we wanted to make sure that we gave back to those of you that are business owners, because we're business owners. You know, everyone that's on this panel that you see on the screen, we all have a business. We've all had moments where we wanted to throw in the towel. We've all felt discouraged. You know what? We've all felt, you know what, motivated, encouraged, you know what, because those are different emotions that we go through, but we get it. We understand it, you know? And I think that that's one of the key things, that we understand your struggles. but we also celebrate your success. So thank you, everybody. If there one more question, let me check to see. Tiffany, great panel. Thank you for giving back to the community. That's the focus of what we do. Okay, so another question. As a brand new startup, I'm finding it hard to gain clients. What type of marketing or targeting should they focus on to obtain new clients? One thing that I would suggest, once again, build relationships. We're at the stage right now where we're being bombarded with so much information, and depending on where you're at, I think that one of the things that I've built my business by way of relationships and being consistent. When we do a webinar, when we do workshops, I'm not selling. I'm not coming in to try to sell anything to anybody. I'm just giving information and content. And I think that that would be ideal for you, you know, that you're starting out, is I would actually start building relationships and let people get to know you. I love to do business with people that I know, but I love to do business with people that I like, people that actually have a lot of my same belief system, my same values. So I think that that's one of the main things. Start building relationships, start asking questions, and talk to the competition right now. A lot of people, they're willing to give information. They may not give you their clients, you know, but they will give you information to that, you know, to that point. And yes, Erica, you know what? So Erica says a part 2 would be great. So thank you.
I want to answer Hashana's question too. As a brand new business, it seems daunting. And I think there's so many ways to go about it. I've seen so many people go so many different avenues in terms of build the website, build the social media following. But I think one of the things that Orlando said is important, build relationships, and is where can you go to build relationships quickly? Get a part of groups of business owners. Because if you do commercial cleaning, business owners need what you offer. Where do they hang out? And so figure out where they hang out and be a part of their groups. And also the other thing is, you know, we're probably going to do all this in our government webinar. So jump onto that, because the government is constantly buying commercial cleaning, and so are other companies. But I mean, the government is easy. They have a bid process. And if you are the lowest bidder and you can show value, you win. So let's talk about that next webinar, but definitely tune in for that, or reach out to us directly for some immediate guidance and answers on that.
I wanted to add also to the commercial cleaning, because businesses are getting ready to open up too, they have to let their customers know how clean and sanitized their place of business is. So right now, commercial cleaning is very important. So I would start using hashtags, you know, COVID-19 commercial cleaning. I mean, I would start pushing that out and saying, hey, we're ready. You know, I don't know if there's a certain certification that you need to show that that business is clean enough to, you know, sanitize enough to accept people, but that's what I would start doing.
Yeah, one more thing that just made me think of Macarena is that one of the things that's super effective is partnering with other businesses that your potential clients already trust. So let's say there's a janitorial service, but they're not offering sanitization, and you have the equipment to sanitize. They can do the janitorial, but maybe you can come in and partner and sanitize. Or maybe there's another service, you know, what kind of other businesses are doing business with the business you want to do business with. And then you come in and partner and say, okay, you're already doing their pest control, whatever. And if we could come in and offer our commercial cleaning, we're happy to give you a whatever kickback for each one of your customers you're able to hand over to us. And that works really well as well.
Yeah. And I think that that's one of the main things right now that for me as a business owner, I've sat back and I've looked at being able to go and submit bids with, you know, Karen, with Tasha, with Macarena, you know what, but tying all of our talents together. Because at the end of the day, we're stronger when we're united and we're using our talents. And I think that that's one of the key things. To the point of some of the slides that we talked about, be vulnerable. Not only are you going to be vulnerable with your clients and yourself, but be vulnerable with other business owners. Because you know what, we're struggling, you know what, but together we can actually come in and offer, you know what, services that maybe somebody else brings to the table. But it goes back to have that conversation. You know how many people I've actually had virtual coffee conversations with on Zoom? They can drink coffee where they're at. I'm drinking here. I've got plenty of coffee. But I think that that's one of the main things. Let's build these relationships so that moving forward, you can expand and grow your business, because you're not coming in and taking advantage of other people. You're actually building those relationships and making sure that people know what you offer, what you bring to the table, so that at this point, we can all be successful. So any final thoughts? You know what, I'm going to give you an opportunity to share final thoughts, words of wisdom. You know what, all of you. So you can go ahead. Whoever wants to go first, so we can go ahead and wrap up. I noticed the time as well, and we want to be mindful.
I will just say thanks for inviting me, Orlando. You always, you know, pull me into whatever cool stuff you're doing. And I would love to be a part of a part 2. Somebody asked about, you know, examples of effective messaging. I'd be more than happy to actually kind of pull back the curtains and show, here's some things that we're doing that are working. And here's examples, you know, here's some swipe copy, take it. Here's emails that we're writing that are getting a good open rate and a good response rate and a good conversion rate, that kind of thing. I'm happy to do it.
Yes.
Yeah, same here. You know, anybody needs anything, definitely let me know. And I will definitely be interested in participating in part 2, Orlando, another great adventure with Orlando Espinosa. So
Thank you.
There have been many, so yes.
Yep, me too. I would like to also thank Orlando for inviting me to participate. It was great to share with Tasha and Karen. And I would also love to do a part 2. I think it would be very beneficial to the public.
All right, so listen, now that I have them in front and I've got you there, what I'm gonna, I've got the attendees. Macarena, Karen, Tasha, and I, what we'll do is that we'll work on a part 2 and we'll work on a mini series of certain things that we can definitely come in and chit chat. I think examples, listen, there's so many things right now that I have in my head about businesses that have come in and some of the things that they're doing to pivot and so forth. And the overall goal of what we want to do with these webinars is not only to educate, but it's also to inspire, you know what, and to keep you mentally, you know what, fit to be able to say, let's do something by X, Y, Z. So, all right. So that's something that we'll take care of. We'll come up with a couple of other, you know, ideas, suggestions on webinars and get those on the books so that we can get that, you know what, hopefully by next month. Brianna, I know we're giving you more work, but we'll work on a couple of things and come in and just have a dialogue. So thank you to Macarena, to Tasha, to Karen for everything. Tasha, I know you were going to say something.
No, I'm good.
No, I'm looking at this and I'm like, okay, so mute, unmute. So thank you to everyone. One thing I would encourage everyone right now, don't sit idle. You know what? Take the time to do some of the things that you want to. If you want to sit outside and drink some coffee, you know what? My family laughs at me because I've been sitting outside drinking coffee, feeding lizards that have grown to be the size of a house. But I do it on purpose more so. But I think that one of the key things right now is to take time for yourself, and then, you know what? Get to designing, creating the business that you want, that you have, and let's move forward. So thank you everyone for everything. It's okay. One more question. Okay. So Maribel, I just want to say this, you know what, she owns Lash and Brow Studio, also in the same boat. So listen, one of the things right now that I see a lot of people is that they're going to go out and they're going to get themselves done, you know, from top to bottom, looking at everything, because I've never seen so many people that want to go get their hair cut, everybody is going out there because we're looking at the natural aspect of how people look. But I will tell you that, you know, Maribel, that's going to be something that a lot of people are going to actually be looking at. So for those of you that may not have business right now, also plan, what is it that you're going to do when you get inundated with customers and clients? How do you handle all of that?
And the other thing is to let them know how you're reopening. So if I'm going to get my lashes and my brows done, I want to know that the person working on me is going to be wearing a mask, is going to be washing their hands, that you're sanitizing, sterilizing, that after each customer you're wiping down with disinfectant or whatever. So those things are really important to let people know right now. Hey, we're sanitizing the whole place. We're stocked up with our surgical masks. We're ready to go. you know, for when you guys come in.
Yeah, great advice. So listen, so thank you everybody. Have a great day. Enjoy your day. Look forward to doing more of these. We will work on that. So thank you, Brianna. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Karen, Tasha, and Macarena. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Okay, bye-bye.